Hello all, let us start this session on openmentor.net in software testing. We talked about bug tracking in the last session. Ideally, we talked about bug filing and the fields that we enter in bug report, and then what is priority, severity, etc., and how it gets closed. Okay. In this session, we'll first talk about something called bug lifecycle. For example, what happens is, imagine every bug as a complaint. You give a complaint to the police, and they need to track it and then close the case, right? In some companies, they call a bug as ticket, right? Because the term ticket is typically used in the United States when you do a traffic violation. The policeman or the cop, they used to give the penalty or the fine, and that is called a ticket. So they call a bug report as a ticket. So each ticket, you need to either pay the fine or you may have to do some social service to close that ticket, right? Same way, every bug needs to be closed. If you take a typical complaint that you have given with the police, you can even take like initial investigation done, then police visited the spot of theft or crime, then suspects identified, suspects interrogated, suspects produced before court, right? Lower court, judgment given, judgment pending, then appealed in higher level court, then higher level courts, justice is pending, verdict is given in the highest level court, right? So the case goes through multiple stages. Same way, a bug also goes through multiple status codes. Typically, there will be a status code called new, right? This is when the bug is lodged or logged, right? So the very first status will be, in most of the companies, it's called new. That means it's brand new, it's not yet discussed, right? And once they have discussed this in the bug triage meeting, they change the status to open. That means it is discussed, right? That means they acknowledged it as a bug. So it is open for the development team to fix it. So the status goes to open. Then usually what happens is they put it as assigned, right? A developer is assigned the work to fix, right? So the development team lead will identify a developer, then they will assign that. That means the bug is being worked by some developer. Once the developer is done with the work, he or she changes the status. Means problem is resolved, right? So the developer says, yeah, I fixed this problem. Then after that, the testing team has to retest, right? If the testing team retests and then it is fine, they do it as retested, right? This is done by testing team, and then finally the test lead will say closed, right? It is fully done. This is a usual status transition: new, open, assigned, fixed, retested, closed, right? Sometimes what happens is, right, two testers might have given the same bug, right? They might be testing in two different modules, but they may be sharing the same screen. Both of them might have done the same test accidentally or purposefully. They might have got the same bug. In that case, both the people file the bug. So during the discussion, they will say they put the status as duplicate. Yeah, one is a duplicate of another, right? So that it automatically is ignored, right? In some meetings, we talked about expected closure date, right? Some bugs may be really challenging for the development team, or it may even open up, yeah, we need more clarification from the customer, right? In that case, they will make the status as on hold. That means it is also known as deferred. Deferred meaning postponed for subsequent releases, so that in the meantime you can get clarifications. It may be a business clarification or it may be a technical problem solving. Basically you cannot fix it immediately and you don't know when to close it, so you may say we will postpone this. Either it is on hold or deferred for a later time. It can happen at that time during the meeting. During the meeting of triage, from new it can go to duplicate, from new it can go to on hold also. Sometimes they will discuss, the development team will try it again and again, but there may be situations where we do not see it again. The same bug may not be appearing again. It may be a peculiar situation or the environment or the test bed in which the tester did. Yesterday it happened, today it's not happening. It happens in my machine, it's not happening in developer's machine. So in that case, they will close that bug saying irreproducible. That means we are not in a position to reproduce the bug. It happened, yes, the tester saw, the tester did it again, tester found it consistent on his or her machine, but after that we couldn't find the bug. Why it's not happening, we do not know, right? So it's called irreproducible bugs, right? Then there may be some cases where bugs, there is something called regression testing. There's a term called regression testing. For example, you test build number 12, right? You file say bug number 137, right? And each bug will be having a unique number to track it. So development team, dev team fixes it. Then build 13 will be given. If you test only that bug, right, that test case, it is called retesting, right? That means I found a bug, they fixed it, I test only that. It's called retesting. But that is not sufficient. In software, retesting alone is not sufficient. So what happens is there's always an impact of one bug on other areas. You might have seen it in many other industries also, like mechanical engineering or even in healthcare. You take one tablet, you have a side effect, right? It's quite common in medical industries, right? You take a tablet for diabetes, you could see heart patients do not take this tablet, right? It may cause a side effect. And you take a medicine for some say viral fever or antibiotics, it may cause upset to the digestive system. So it will correct one place, or it may have an impact on the other place which may be bad. Same way, a fix in one place, if it is not efficient, may cause issues elsewhere. To ensure that it is not causing issues in the other places, we call it something called regression testing. We need to do regression testing. That means test around that area of the bug. For example, if I get one bug in resume builder, especially on date of birth, right, then do a full testing of the whole screen so that nothing else breaks in that screen, right? It is very difficult to say how to define around that area, right? In some companies they call it as any bug in that screen, redo all tests for that screen. That may be a regression approach. Or in some companies they will say redo all tests for that module itself, right? The resume builder may be part of recruitment module of their HR system. So redo all the tests for the recruitment module, right? In some companies, redo all tests for the whole product, which is the highest level of regression. That means you are doing 100% regression, right? But the regression testing takes time, right? Based on time, we may have to do some amount of regression testing, right? But the thing is, highest level assurance is 100% regression for the whole product, or at least for that module, slightly reduced, at least for that screen. Don't stop only with retesting. So you should do regression testing, not just retesting, right? So the bug travels through this cycle, right? New, open, assigned, fixed, retested, closed, right? And everything it goes through that. But during the regression testing, developer says it's fixed, but tester sees a bug in a different way now, right? Okay, the plumber said I have fixed this tap. Tap may not be leaking, but it may be too tight, right? So you fix one problem to ensure that you have not introduced another problem. You do regression testing. But he fixed the tap here, but the shower is attached, which is attached to it, is leaking now, right? That means the bug manifests itself in a different way. From fixed, you will not change the status to retested. You will say reopened, right? When it's a reopen, the tester will say reopen. That means it has to go back against the fix. So until you get your disease cured, you go back to the doctor again and again. Same way, here the doctor is the development team. You have to ensure that the product, which is a patient, goes to the doctor again and again, get the bugs fixed until they are fixed correctly. Otherwise, you'll keep on reopening them. More reopening meaning fixes are not going in the right direction. That's a problem. Usually fixes should work right at the first shot. That's a good developer's attitude, right? Aptitude, attitude, the process, everything reflects in that. There are other cases where if the bugs are not fixed, they may even postpone the builds. So the testing team will be idle, right? Maybe for 2-3 days they will say, no, we are not doing anything. We are working on the product. Testing team can do some other reading or review. You can do some other testing on this one, right? They may be temporarily released to another project. May not be, maybe a week, maybe 3 days. It differs, okay? Then there is one other thing, especially when you are dealing with defects. In defects, we have categories like severity and priority, right? Always there is a concept called error and defect. Error means we find issues in the same stage. For example, you review the design document, you find the problem right there. You can fix it easily, right? Correction is easy. Correction is easy if you find in the same stage. Defect meaning error caused in previous stages. Error caused in previous stages. They leak out to this stage. That is why it is appearing now. Correction is tough and it is costly, right? It takes more time, it is a costly effort, right? Example, the builder gave you the layout. You did not find some problems in the layout, you asked them to construct. After constructing, you find now the door should close that way, not this way, right? After it is constructed, correction is tough. Whereas if you find right at the design stage, you can easily fix it, right? Take a mechanical industry. If the drawing is wrong and the dimensions are wrong, and the person who manufactures that part makes with that dimension, what will you do? You should have caught that error in the design stage, or you should have caught that error in the requirement stage. Since you did not catch it, it appears in the later stage. Correction is tough, right? So we should be in a position to identify more errors through reviews. We should be in a position to find less defects so that our process is correct. So you can see a direct relationship between verification and validation here. The more verification you do, you will find more errors, right? If you don't do verifications, you will find a lot of defects. That means problems leak through phases. They appear finally, then you have a problem, right? Same way, it is equivalent to doing regular health checks, right? If you do regular health checks, you will not get surprises at the age of 50. If you don't do anything, suddenly you may get a medical report saying that, hey, you need a bypass surgery in your heart, so it's a problem. So do regular health checks. That way you can find a lot of errors, fix them early, fix them easily. If you don't do that, you will find a lot of defects. That means you are getting problems at later stage. Correcting them is costly. Correcting them takes more time. It is causing a lot of issues towards the credibility. So this build, right, test, fix, retest, this cycle goes on and on and on and on till you get some amount of stability in the product, right? Once you get that stability, then only your test managers and project managers can say, yeah, now we can release this to the customer, correct? Till then you have to build, test, fix, retest, build, test, fix, retest, right? Again, this fix and retest will keep on going on in a cycle, right? If you are introducing a new feature, it is called build. If you are correcting only the problems, it is called fix, right? If you take some of the products and see the help about, right, then you will see something called build, right? Take this help about in Notepad. You could see build number 2600. That means 2600 times this product has been tested, right? Anywhere you see a build number or the last 3 or 4 digit number in the version, that is also reflecting build. The more building you and retesting you do and regression testing you do, the more stable will be the product. Okay, and this is called the bug life cycle. So every bug you find needs to be closed. There should be a reason to close, right? And occasionally it may be irreproducible or postponed or deferred, or it may be on hold, or it may be duplicate. But most of the issues related to the problems either in the design or in the coding or in the requirements, right? I will stop this session here. So we have talked about planning stage, where we talked about MTP, DTP, DTC test cases. Then we talked about execute, right? Then during the execution we talked about test bed setup, and then we talked about BVTs, BATs, bug tracking, bug lifecycle. The third phase will be that analyze, right? Analysis of the bugs, right? That we will discuss in the next session. Thank you.